I've been called lots of stuff. Yeah, I've done a lot of deed. I've had it rough and tough. You know I've smoked a lot of weed. Mellow, don't you know? Well, I've learned a thing or two, like when and where I should go to, what I should or shouldn't do. I've been left alone, no company, but that's alright with me, 'cause I'm big and ugly. I'm big and ugly. I'd like to let it grow, you know I'm talking about my beard. I'll have you all know that I know sometimes it might look weird, but I got a friend upstairs whom I'll keep confiding in. I know he's there 'cause when I knock he always lets me in. Brings me peace with what it is and what is not for me. To accept what I see, they're looking back at me as big and ugly. Big and ugly. I could have been small and cute and play a flute like a dream, or sing like an angel, maybe play ukulele. But I got to work with my hands and keep dragging it along, banging on that old guitar. Sometimes I'll write a song. I lose a few friends, so it seems I got no enemies. What you get is what you see, that's how it is with me, 'cause I'm big and ugly. I'm big and ugly. Big and ugly.
Hey everybody, welcome back to The Big Uglies. I'm your host, Josh Denny, and why is that playing again? There we go. See, that was supposed to fade out the first time, and I did not click the not loop button. So here we are. Great start to the show, everybody. Welcome. You are watching the Big Uglies. There it is. Boom in the corner. You can go to patreon.com/the Big Uglies podcast to support us over there. We love that. We appreciate that. It's only $5 to join. You get kind of to be part of the home base of the show, or you can pay $8 and you can talk to us. Very fun thing. And by us, obviously, I mean not just myself, but my self included, along with my one and only co-host, Mr. Big Spit, Carl Spitali.
Hey,
buddy.
Why did I get blurred right there?
I don't know. You got pixelated all of a sudden. You have a bad internet connection, huh?
I don't know. Is it?
I don't know what's going on. I'll tell you what, man. Like I have started using my phone as my camera because it just looks better than my regular camera. And the downside of that is that I can't use my phone while I'm on the show. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, it's fucking freezing in my apartment. And I would love to just take my phone and do my Nest and turn my heat on. But I can't do it because
how is it freezing in your apartment? It's 75
I don't know,
degrees in mine.
I don't know. It's fucking cold over here. I think I had
3.
I think I had it set have my thermostat set for what I slept in last night. I sleep with it like 65.
Oh, that's crazy.
It's got to be ice cold in here for me.
I only sleep with that when it's that cold. I just like don't turn the heat on. Like I don't set it to that or anything.
Yeah, sometimes I have to set it to that because it's. I don't know if yours is like. Is the back of your apartment get colder than the front of your apartment?
Well, of course, because the front of my apartment is the fucking window.
Right, but mine is. Well, I guess mine has a window too. Let's see, now I'm all glitchy. Mine has a window too, but yeah, the living room is like warm, and then when I go to the bedroom, it's freezing cold. So I like that, and
That's
a lot
a
of
good thing.
yeah, a lot of that nights I don't have to do anything because of that. But then if it's too cold and I got to turn the heat on, then the living room gets hot. It's this vicious. It's a vicious cycle.
I I don't know if it's. I just grew up in South Florida, and I always had to have a fan, like moving the air
Oh, on around
to
you.
sleep.
Yeah.
So I'll put a fan on. It doesn't matter. Like for the most part, girls like staying here. They'll be like, "Why do you have the fan on? It's like cold out." I go, "Listen, if you're gonna bitch about that, you can just leave now because I'm not gonna change my fucking how I go to sleep because bitch, I got blankets, bitch." Like,
Yeah.
that's how I feel though. It's like you can always be. It can't be way too cold. Like you can always get more blankets or more things to make you warm. Like hot sleeping is the worst, dude. Once you're naked, you're naked. You can't just like and you're like, fuck, I'm up.
Right.
You have to get out.
Exactly. Another bit of news. It's like semi news. Something I wanted to share with people here. But we have a new tour kicking off, and we got some of these up right now. Dates announced. We have America Strikes Back Los Angeles, April 19th, and America Strikes Back Boca Raton, April 30th. There will be some dates added to both of these as well, because I think you and I are going to do some separate shows in the area around Florida before and after. So once we get those locked in, we'll have those announced as well. And then this tour is not just going to be me, Gavin, and Anthony. It's also going to incorporate dates with me and Carl. It's going to incorporate some dates with our friend Leonardo Joni, our buddy Ty Rivera, and some other comics as well who are going to be surprises. So, yeah, go if you're watching, go get tickets. We got a couple dates announced already. And it's funny, somebody already said on X, they go, wow, it's a new day. You guys can announce your venues ahead of time. Well, the difference is these venues we have an established relationship with. They know exactly who we are and what we do. That may not always be the case, but we also always have contracts, and that's obviously becoming more and more important right now, because as much as we think it's 2025 and it's the golden age of America, our friend Leonardo is finding out that we have not quite outrun cancel culture yet as it pertains to comedians. I mean, we talked about this at our dinner a lot on Wednesday, but do you have some thoughts on this, Carl?
I think you said it best with like the contract shit. It's just like these motherfuckers are really going into a thing of, yeah, I'll book you for a show. Go ahead and make your travel arrangements, do all this, and then start selling your tickets,
start selling
tickets, and then some goofy mob of nobodies will start being like, can you believe that you booked so-and-so? Here's something they tweeted a month ago. Or did you know they made a video talking shit? And you're like, so what's going to happen? And then they go, well, then they post a response to the mob via the venue, whether it's Instagram or Twitter or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
Facebook. They listen to Facebook community posts. They listen.
Oh yeah, I remember that one. Yeah.
They like, and I'm just like, all right, so what are you gonna do about it? Like, sorry, we're gonna have to cancel the shows. And then you go, okay, so pay me the money at least. And back in the day, it was like a thing of like when there was no comedy booker and stuff. I know, like when I wasn't doing comedy, but like my boys had a promotion company and would like book rappers and stuff and acts to come to college, and those artists always add a deposit first time. And it's one of those things like, cool, you can cancel it, you owe me $1,500, right, and it's just like the deposit up front, and the deposit is basically being like, yeah, you're paying, a fraction or part of the money, and then they do the gig and they get paid the rest.
Right.
And it's like that has to happen for comedians, and they just don't do it because a lot of them are repped by people that they'll go, well, we'll make it up to you. Yeah, these dates all got canceled, but we'll put you on these shows. It'll make up for it. And go, yeah,
Well,
but I should still be getting paid for those things they canceled, right?
Well, this is the pushback I'll give. Like, do you remember when this happened to Louis J. Gomez and Jim Florentine and some people recently? It was within the last year where there was that
in Portland or Seattle or something.
Yeah, that canceled them. And Lewis's mentality was just like, oh, we don't care. We'll just find another venue. We'll do whatever. That's fine. But it's like, okay, but what you're doing is setting a precedent that this is okay and that this works and that people will succeed at doing this. And so what happens is, when they succeed, they keep going, and it gets to the point
they
where
just want to see people grovel. They don't even care about.
Yeah, and it's really not even about the principles of anything that's discussed or anything that's said or any of the tweets or anything. It's really just about control. It's really about being able to be like, I can stop the flow of your money. You know what I mean? It's just hater shit. And in reality, that's really what it is with our friend Leonarda, is that she's not even being canceled by like a mob of people who want to patronize these clubs. She's being canceled by a mob of comedians that are mad that somebody that does the kind of comedy Leonarda does
is getting booked and they're not.
Is selling tickets and is making money. Like she'll put dates on sale and they sell out immediately. Mm-hmm. And then so she's in demand right now. And a lot of these open mic comedians are going, well, she's only in demand because she's anti-Semitic and racist and homophobic. And it's like, yeah, back in the day, we called those comedians.
Right.
Back in the day, there was this understanding that like you could say all these things as a comedian and it ended there. And you didn't you were trying to become the new Hitler. But apparently that's the only way that these people can interpret those kinds of jokes anymore.
It's also weird that the left used to be the comics that went there and said that and did that, and now there's this, and not to be political and like, but they really did like draw their line in the sand, be like, this is how we feel and this is about jokes, and then they started incorporating the whole punching down thing. That's an introduction from the left. That's not something that
I'll get into that in a moment. I just want to point out Hotbod Kebab put, business owners are afraid of nothing. Online posts lead to nothing. Nobody's going to boycott them for something the mob will forget in a week. You're right, except the first sentence, Kebab. They should be afraid of nothing. Unfortunately, that's not what's happening. They're reacting to, and this is the other problem is in a lot of these cases, in some of these comedy clubs, their staff is made up of local comedians. Mm-hmm. And then what happens is, so these comedians start thinking like, well, we're a union. So if all of us band together and say, we won't work this event, you won't be able to get staff for this event, it puts the owner in a tough situation. Now, Carl, you and I would tell our staff, pack your shit and get the fuck out today. We'll replace you.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, a lot of these clubs are run by women who stress out at the smallest inconvenience. And so there you go. So these people, when I refer to this as terrorism, and you like to use that term a lot when talking about the way that Karens or black women or whatever will try to just automatically affect change in the way somebody does business by being a problem. That's really what this is. It's Karening by local comedians going to the fragile female bookers or business owners and saying, well, we won't show up for work if you book this person. And then they pull their hair and go, well, I don't even want to think about having to hire an alternate staff. So I'll just cancel the show and lose all that money. And my message to those owners is always, hey, when the club loses money in a month and you can't make payroll or you're a month behind on the lease for the business, do those same comedians or same employees band together and take their own money and bail you out? The answer is obviously no.
And the other part of that is they act and they go, well, I mean, I hear you and I still want to book you or I still want to go through that, but they won't They're not having it. And
They won't let me run my business.
Yeah, it's like, these people are not going to buy tickets and stuff. I'm like, hey, man, they're not buying tickets anyway.
At all. Yeah.
So, like, you're placating and pandering to a group of people that have no interest in being patrons.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was Melton who said it or somebody else who said it about this kind of thing 10 years ago, but was like, you're literally owner of a steakhouse and you're listening to a mob of vegans outside your restaurant. There's nothing you're going to do that's ever going to bring them inside.
Yeah, and these restaurants start changing their menu to have vegan options. And you go, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Right? And there's plenty of, like, I remember, it's funny you said that because I remember this English chef had posted a thing. He was like, no fucking vegans. And they outraged.
Yeah, right? Was this a guy who, I think this was a restaurant in Canada, a guy who owned a restaurant in Canada, and then the vegans were like,
I think it was an English dude, but either way,
it could have been both. There was during the pandemic, or maybe right before, there was a guy who had a restaurant in Canada that was like, he was a hunter, and all of his food was stuff that he had hunted, and that was the theme of the restaurant. And vegans, like animal rights activists, like smeared blood on his windows. And
oh no, this was a Michelin star chef who was like, I'm not cooking anything for vegans. If you ask for a fucking vegan menu, I'll just fucking kick you out. Like, I don't care. Like, go fucking eat somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And they're like, this guy's rude. I'd never eat there. And you're like, yeah, I know. That's the point. He's saying, I don't need you. Right? I'm making a thing, and the people who will enjoy it will come here and keep coming here. Right? Like, what's that? Well, Noel Gallagher had said, the fucking people don't know what they want. If I listen to the fucking people all the time, I'd never pick up a fucking guitar.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's just like, you're not making music for a bunch of other people to have their input on you.
I went to pull up this article, and of course they advertised the movie we talked about last week, The Goyge.
The Goyge. Stop
one Jew. You got one Jew on this.
The Goys are they got the Goys on watch to keep them.
Yeah, they got this guy's looking this way, this guy's looking the other way, this guy's going.
The name of his place is Antler.
Yes, The Goyge. Shit! Why did it do that? No, that's not what I wanted.
Right, that guy in Canada, his place was called Antler.
Yes, I did have this pulled up a minute ago, and I just closed the fucking tab on myself.
But
this was the story I'm remembering because it was not far from my thing. It was around the same time as like when I was canceled the first time, quote unquote. And why is this doing that? Stop screen, present, share screen. I'll get it today. There we go. Yeah, so this was the story I'm thinking of. So, chef who butchered a deer in front of vegan protesters saying, "We won't change." So he had...
That's kind of dope.
It's pretty gangster. He had a bunch of vegans that were protesting his restaurant. And so they were doing this like outside his windows. And then he decided, I'm just going to butcher meats in front of your protest in my window.
That's awesome.
Which is just pretty fucking great, if I'm being honest.
Imagine like in the time of like Gangs of New York era, early America, where you have, the Irish in one section, you got like the formation of New York, right? And then you have just like a bunch of Italians over here. You got like the Jewish section and stuff. They all have like their own butchers. You got the Chinese with the geese hanging in the window and the ducks and shit hanging in the window. And they have like a vegan protesting them. Dude, they would beat the shit out of these people.
Important caveat. No refrigeration in any of these places that are hanging raw meats in the window.
They would have beat the shit out of those people for trying to protest it. Just because you're like, hey, you're trying to fuck with my business? Pow, 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 pow.
They would have beat the shit out of them for being Chinese.
Like, even the Chinese places where they just beat them with sticks. You know, like,
You go, you leave, you know,
yeah,
stay.
you leave here.
Yeah.
I just find it funny that people really believe, like, I see like that faggy, like, don't tell comedy things will show up and it goes like, there'll be some clip like, cancel culture doesn't exist. That's just in Republicans' minds. And like, yeah, because you don't take risks. You nobody. You fucking nothing.
That's a great point. We were talking about this at the comics dinner on Wednesday, and yeah, you said the exact thing. Was just like, yeah, it doesn't exist for them because they're not taking any risks. They're not saying anything, or they've never tweeted anything that could be interpreted as bad.
You know, you're gonna get canceled. And then I also hate the black comics do that a lot too, where they go, "Don't cancel me for this. Y'all don't cancel me for this."
Well, here's the other one.
That's the permission to tell a joke thing. It's like, now I'm gonna say something now, but y'all don't cancel me now.
Well, one thing I can't fucking stand about this whole thing is that, you know, everyone goes, oh, well, what she says is bad, and we can't allow that at comedy clubs. We can't allow people to come in and sort of espouse hate speech. And then what's happening is literal blacks are in literal blacks. Literally, there are blacks in her fucking DMs that are comics in these communities that are like, don't pull up, bitch. We'll fucking come kill you. Yeah. And I'm just like, so that's fine. So we don't count that as hate speech. Those are direct threats of violence that you're making against a woman who does comedy. And that's fine. You know, and this is the thing is like, so when we're very harsh with the black community and we'll drop the occasional N-bomb on the show or whatever, it's like, this is what we're talking about exactly, is this double standard. This double standard where, for whatever reason, it's now supposed to be acceptable that any amount of violence, hatred, vitriol, denial of work, denial of opportunity to earn or make money against white people's fine. It's fine because we are all evil, wealthy oppressors, and any person of color can do and say whatever they want to harm or obstruct the life, liberty, and happiness of any white person. Well, I'm here to tell you, we don't agree. And I'd like to see you fucking try it.
I also think it's hilarious that in the argument, even for like in an argument's sake of trying to make the point of that, black dudes will literally be like, if you say that shit around me, I'll beat the shit out you. Or you pull up to the club and you do that, and you go like, dude, we're literally saying you can't handle words, and you're proving it.
You're doing it. Yeah,
you're doing the thing.
You see this on X and Twitter, you know, all the time, where people like, you say that black people's inherently violent to my face, see what happens. And people go, what, inherent violence?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you're going to respond.
Impulse control not there or something?
Impulse control because of your low IQ and your overt amount of testosterone and your fucking chimpanzee-like behavior.
Whoa.
So... this is what they say. I'm just quoting the people on the internet.
Quoting them.
Yeah, I'm quoting them. That's what they say. I don't think that. But that's what they say. I would never.
You know who else?
I would never say something like that and absolutely mean it.
And that comes from this like overt, what
some of them say.
Overt confidence that they have. And I feel like, you know who else has this confidence sort of for no reason? Canadians.
Yes. Yeah.
Canadians, they've never won a fucking war that I know about.
You have another country's monarch on your fucking money.
You know what I'm saying?
That would be like if I had my cock tattooed on your wife's face, Canada, and you would just say, this is my wife. Oh, is it? Well, that's my cock tattooed on her face. So whose wife is it really?
The fact that these motherfuckers walk around and go, your stupid president will never get our country. And I go, you sure about that? I never even entertained it until the Four Nations game. And then I was like, buy these motherfuckers.
And we got to talk about this because this is how this all started. And I don't know if I talked about this on last Friday's show. I don't think it had happened yet.
Mm-mm.
But no, because the last week's Thursday game was what prompted me even having this thought. And it didn't catch fire till Saturday after we did the show. But I did a tweet. I should have left it. I did a tweet where I said that Brady Tkachuk, who is an incredible American hockey player, son of legendary hockey player Keith Tkachuk, brother of Stanley Cup winning player last cycle, Matthew Tkachuk of the Florida Panthers. Brady Tkachuk comes out in the first Four Nations game against Canada.
Gangbusters.
Fucking leveling people, fighting, scoring goals, dominating. And I said, boy, as a hockey fan, it's a real shame that our Luka Doncic is playing in not only a Canadian team, the shittiest, least winning, most insignificant Canadian team in all of the NHL, the Ottawa Senators. Have never won a goddamn thing. They came into the league as an expansion team in 1993. They haven't been to the playoffs since 2017. Their playoff drought is as long. Their playoff win drought, series winning drought, is as long as I think the Sabres have not been in the playoffs. Right?
I mean, why are we catching strays?
Listen, I'm just saying. For comparison for people. So I said it'd be really nice if Brady Tkachuk got to play for an original 6 team, or even like the first 12 teams, including expansion. Like Brady Tkachuk should play for Buffalo or Pittsburgh or Philadelphia, in addition to the original 6 teams of like Chicago, Detroit, and I would exclude Montreal because Montreal's been shitty and hasn't won anything since 1993 either. Yeah. So, and Toronto already has all the big guns. They have Nylander. They have Austin Matthews, who's arguably the best American-born player. But Brady Tkachuk is a mammoth motherfucker who's fun to watch. So I'm making this comment out of this is what would be good for the game. Just like everyone can acknowledge, Luka Doncic going from Dallas to the LA Lakers is good for the sport. And that's why it happened in such a lopsided trade kind of a way. So, as if I were right in that Ottawa is a shit place with a bunch of retards, on Saturday morning, some Ottawa hockey podcast picks up that I tweeted this, and they all come for me. They all come for me. Oh, you're fat. You suck. You don't know hockey, even though I played it my entire childhood. You don't know anything about the sport. Ottawa's great. Ottawa's name is engraved in the Stanley Cup. I go, what? Before blacks were allowed to vote in your country? What are we talking about? It was all before 1930. Yeah. It was before the Stanley Cup was even adopted as the official trophy of the NHL again.
And they're like, we got 11 of them. And you better find out where that trophy came from. I was like, dude, I'm not talking about 1800s hockey. You're out of your mind. Like,
right.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
And it was like, it's actually named after the Ottawa Senators' original club in there. And they brought the name back in 1992. And I go, how many Stanley Cups have they won since then? Oh, yeah. None? Shut the fuck up.
Right. Right. And by the way, like, I'm a Flyers fan. Okay. And I know our team has been shit for a long time.
That's why I'm a Sabres fan. Haven't been to the playoffs in 14 years. Yeah. If I said a player like Tage Thompson is rotting on the Sabres, I'm not lying.
Right? Exactly.
And I'm admitting it.
Through for years, and we traded him to Florida so he could try to win a Stanley Cup. And where did this stupid, beady-eyed, fucking flapping head sign after he was a free agent? Ottawa. His hometown of Ottawa. And what has Claude Giroux won since signing in Ottawa, Carl? Worst records than if he would have stayed on the Flyers.
Hey, one thing for sure, though. I think the Ottawa fans went nuts when both of them scored in the game yesterday.
Yeah.
Because they had Sanderson, right? He was like an alternate or something that came.
Yeah, and he ended up playing because
McAvoy was hurt.
Yeah.
and they both scored. And they're like, the young Ottawa Senators really making a name for themselves in this tournament. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, it'd be great if they could score for their own NHL club.
Let's see what happens on Saturday when they're back to regular scheduled programming.
Exactly. What are you going to be getting your shit pushed in by the fucking Columbus Blue Jackets?
So they were these, but
we got some good comments here on Canada.
The sheer confidence,
because I
unearned
live on the
confidence.
border of Canada, dual citizen. I will never go back. I'm half native, and as an Indian, fuck Canada. Yeah, I feel the same exact way.
I think that's an even better one. Canada's national sports are projection, lying, and bug catching.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty funny.
Dude, it is projection, dude.
Yeah.
That's why I say it's unearned confidence. All the things they seem like, how's it going in your communist fascist country over there, eh? And you're like,
so this is
you mean you guys?
I got to finish the story about how it transitioned and became even real vicious. So they're calling me fat and telling me I don't know hockey, and then the "Hey, dumb America with your rapist president" shit starts coming in. You guys elected a rapist, eh? You guys elected a guy who raped a lady, eh, to be your president, eh? What's that about? And I go, what's it about?
What's it about?
I go, well, why don't we dig into the Hockey Canada scandal where you guys have paid hush money to something like 15 different cases since 1989. And
Yeah.
Hockey Canada, we're just talking about junior hockey. So these are all under 18 kids playing in national tournaments, World Junior Cups, whatever, who have a 30-year prestigious history of fucking women in large groups of hockey players. Like, I don't know if that's called
without their consent.
Apparently, hockey players only fuck with a man advantage because these guys are all gangbanging chicks, and Hockey Canada has been paying them off since '89. And then about 5 years ago,
that's the official power play by the Canada Juniors.
The Pika power play. Den, 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 den. So anyway, they
all those settlements are definitely the penalty kill, though.
Yeah, exactly. So they, these guys are fucking on the man advantage. 5 years ago or 7 years ago now, or whatever, is the 2018 team. Apparently, there were like 5 players who fucked a girl together against her will. And those guys are all under investigation because in Canada, real great country, again, by the way, just want to point out, after a case is closed, the government can just decide to reopen it.
Open it back up again.
Open it back up. Hey, some new stuff come out. Yeah, I know.
Even though we know we had a settlement in civil court, but now let's have this criminal investigation, though, a couple years later, yo.
It would be like if OJ murdered his wife and her friend, and then won his criminal case, and then lost the civil trial, and then had to go back and reface the criminal trial again. And it was like, didn't you guys forget that the white guy said the N-word? They go, oh, yeah, no, that doesn't matter. See, now, because they found you civilly liable. So,
yeah, civil liability then reopens criminal cases there. So you're going to have to go to jail for killing these white folks there.
Yeah. And so a lot of people talk about settlement as an admission of guilt, right? Alex Fermenton, the Ottawa player involved in this shenanigan, immediately retired from hockey forever and got a construction job. Now, if that's not guilty plea of, oh yeah, we definitely raped that bitch. I'll just take my gun and badge and my skates and my stick. I'll be up in the woods hanging drywall. You see, because we fucked that girl. Yeah, no, they're gonna find that out.
Good luck finding me. I'm gonna be in this log cabin here.
Exactly, I'll be building cabins. You see, I'm not. My skating days are over now. So. That's that.
So their whole, and that's why I call it unearned confidence.
I bring this up since they're calling our president a rapist, and I just thought, why don't we throw some fact at this? And then their reaction wasn't even like, this is all, we don't even know that these boys have done anything. They haven't been found guilty yet or blah, blah, blah. They just go, how dare you? How dare you bring up such a vicious sexual atrocity?
I do love the fact that their responses. The responses definitely went, look at this fat fuck. He'll go to there's no depths he won't go to. Yeah. And you're like, well, there's a lot of them because he floats.
I'm too buoyant to go very deep. But yeah, there's just like, hold on. And so I think I even posted, I go, wait, mean comedian says thing. Woman attacks mean comedian bees himself. And woman goes, why is this happening to me?
Retarded. That's why. Because you're Canadian. That's why, you fucking Canuck. They're so retarded. I don't understand it. They got good beef there. They got good food. but the portions are
So-
smaller, and they try and make fun of us for it. And like, oh yeah, you guys eat those beefed up, all your steroid meat and stuff. I'm like, yeah, we have good portions. You can't give me this same quality meat with a bigger portion here, eh?
So
Poutine's okay.
naturally, you and I go into tomorrow brimming with confidence, or tomorrow we go into yesterday brimming with confidence, but also fully in mind of like, our boys better pull this the fuck off for the love of God. And they don't.
They didn't fight him.
Soon as they should have beat him up more. They should have hit him more. They should have fought him more. I agree.
It's also Austin Matthews' fault. If you watch that.
Well, the final goal was Luke Hughes, who absolutely became a turnstile in the slot as Connor McDavid just fucking swooped in. And as soon as I saw Luke Hughes, or no, it was Jack Hughes. As soon as I saw Jack Hughes lose his man on the back check there, I go, this is in the net.
Yeah, but you would think like Austin Matthews plays hockey. Like, okay, so the game before that, when I was watching Canada play Finland,
yeah,
Sidney Crosby hits a dude, collides with him on ice. They both go down. He gets up immediately, shoots an empty netter, right? Why is that not an Austin Matthews type of deal? Mm-hmm. He's bigger than Sidney Crosby. He can do this thing. He's like, here, give me the puck. I'll do something with it. It's just like, no, go create something. And one of the things is you got to be a little bit of a two-way player in situations, right? You don't have to be a two-way player all the time.
Right,
but in certain situations, especially when they got that shit at the fucking blue line, go skate to the fastest skater that they got or the most skilled guy that they got and give him a little bit of a challenge. Screen him a little. Something. Mm-hmm. Dude, if you go back and watch that, just watch 34. Just watch him. And you go, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. Well,
it's because he's a Leaf and they choke.
Yeah, you and I talked about first of all, there's a reason why everyone in this series was talking about the Kachucks, not talking about Austin Matthews, because as skilled as he is, he's not as skilled as Connor McDavid, and as big as he is, he's kind of a pussy compared to the Kachucks. And so when everyone talks about Austin Matthews,
that's why he's a second line center.
Yeah, well, everyone talking about Austin Matthews being the best player. I go, I don't think so. He might be the most well-rounded player, but that means he doesn't really. He's a jack of all trades.
I don't think he's well-rounded.
He's a jack of all trades, master of none. I don't think, and this is a little bit of a nod to your guy, I don't think he's any better than Tage Thompson. I think if you put Tage Thompson next to Michael Nylander or Mitch Marner or Jonathan Toews on a power play, I think Tage Thompson would put up the same numbers as an Austin Matthews. What's insane is, even though he's having a down year this year and had a trail off last year, the numbers that Tage Thompson put up a couple years ago in Buffalo with absolutely fucking nobody with him tells you that he is this sort of, or has the potential to be this sort of dominant player.
I think he's got 26 goals right now.
Everyone talks about Austin Matthews like he's this dominant guy. I think Tage Thompson is that guy. And I think if you would have brought Tage Thompson in from the beginning and put him in on a line with the Kachucks, I don't think Connor McDavid gets out of his own end zone.
And also, people would go, who the fuck is this? When you watch Tage the first time, right? Because I remember when he came to Sabres, I was like, what the fuck? He's 6'6", 220, flying.
Yeah,
right?
and originally you look at this guy based on his size and you go, so this is a fourth line enforcer. This guy's not going to play with any sort of skill or whatever. And then, Tage Thompson in the last couple of years had a 7-point game. Had a night where he had 4 goals and 3 assists in one fucking game.
You're talking about a guy who's 6'6", 220, but flies. Is not a skating liability out there.
Right.
And I think, dude, situationally in some of those lines, that's where Austin Matthews is a liability in those situations. That's why the Maple Leafs choke.
Yeah, well, it's kind of reminiscent because that Hughes thing of failing to cover his man at the end of that game was probably the worst thing I've seen since last year's playoffs when Mitch Marner let David Pastrnak blow right by him, chasing a puck and go right in and fucking bury it.
Slavin was awesome, though.
Win the series. Yeah,
Slavin
Jacob
was awesome.
Slavin's great. But yeah, but I'm just saying, like, it's a going back to what you said. There's a poison in the water in Toronto that makes these guys soft and shitty. And so when people go, does Toronto Maple Leafs have to break up their core? Yes, you got to do something, because the last person with any fucking edge you had was Tyler Bertuzzi, and now he's in Chicago trying to be a bash brother on a team that has no talent other than Connor Bedard.
So teams that would be afraid to make trades or anything like that, it has to do with like the response that they get from the fan base, and they go, "Oh, we don't want to make certain hasty decisions." And I would say that's in the NHL. However, the NFL will make hasty decisions based on things like your wife not shutting the fuck up
on a podcast
is going to get you traded.
Yeah.
Which leads me to my next thing. Why are they talking about Matthew Stafford being traded and what they should get for him? Because his fucking wife won't stop talking about it on a podcast. And like, hey, he's got 2 more years on his contract. He's actually in the best situation possible. He plays indoors in LA in a dome. His body isn't hurting because he's in the snow anymore. They just have to bolster things around them.
They somehow put together this fucking incredible offensive line of rejects from other teams that they traded 6th and 7th.
McVay knows what he's doing. Like, I
Yes.
don't understand. He's not in a bad situation. So the fact that she keeps talking and talking and talking is going to get him sent the fuck out of there.
Well, and this is the thing that's kind of, this is like, goes back to a thing we say all the time about how women have the ability to ruin everything. She's sitting here going, he's not getting the kind of money that Deshaun Watson got, or that Lamar Jackson's getting, or that any of these blacks are getting. And my husband,
she's saying he wants to win. I'm like, this is the best place for him to win.
It really is, because guess what you did already? You won. You won a Super Bowl. You were in Detroit for fucking 14 seasons and couldn't win shit?
Yeah.
So you go to LA in your first year and you win a Super Bowl. And not only that, but they're like, no, we're going to trade you and we're going to trade Cooper Kupp. And it's like, okay, you guys are going to, so they're saying, not only are we going to send you away, we're going to fucking break up the entire band.
Yeah.
Like we'll burn the whole thing down and build it over. And what I think is interesting is it's almost like McVay having a Herb Brooks moment, which by the way was the dopest fucking part.
Oh, that intercut thing that they had?
The fucking poison with the Herb Brooks miracle Kurt Russell speech. My hair was standing up on my arm. That's what you've earned here tonight. And they just cut to the boys, and then they go out and lose, and you go, fuck you.
Well, they lost in overtime, so they did.
Yeah.
At least they showed up. But the fact that McVay puts together a team, they're riddled with injuries, and then they find a way to still get in the playoffs.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And you go, man, if they could just, if only they were a little bit healthier, they could. And now this chick is yapping on a podcast. Like, I mean, he's great. He's better. And wasn't this the same broad who talked about fucking his college teammate
to like get him
to
riled,
make him go out with her?
Great. Yeah, to make him better at football. It was the way she sold it. Was like, she was basically like, if I didn't rile him up by fucking one of his friends, he wouldn't be Matthew Stafford.
Hey, pro athletes, you got a wife, a girlfriend, and they want to start a podcast, lock them up in a basement.
Yeah. And definitely don't do it with them.
Why haven't we seen your wife in a while? And be like, oh, she's busy crafting.
Yeah. Yeah.
You all right over there?
Yeah, I'm itching my ear. Did you well, we all know how Terry Bradshaw's wife had a morning radio show back in the 70s. Not
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, you know, back in
what would that been like? I don't even.
I mean, back in my day, the only way your wife would get on TV is if you cut her fucking head off. That's the kind of football we got to go back to.
I just can't believe they're sticking cameras and microphones in their faces. Like, tell us about how your husband prepares. And be like,
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Nicole Brown Simpson podcast. I'm here, your host, Nicole Brown Simpson. Here today is with me is my lifelong friend, Chris Kardashian. Chris.
Hi, I'm Ron Goldman. You left your glasses here, miss.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. So, do you guys hear somebody at the door out there? It's like there's somebody outside at the door. Yeah, did I know we talked about this briefly in the talk about the OJ documentary, but in the OJ documentary, his lifelong friend and agent basically said that OJ admitted to him privately that he did kill them. He said to him, like, man, if none of this would have happened if she didn't come to the door with a knife. And so it was basically like she came to the door with a knife, and he was like, bitch, I fucking, and then did what he did. And then poor Jew guy comes up and goes, did somebody forget some glasses?
So you fucking him too?
Yeah. You know, it's almost as if all that football from OJ gave him a lesser amount of impulse control.
It's crazy though, because you would never thought he had CTE with that big ass dog.
Also, let me tell you something. This is why I don't fucking return anybody's glasses anywhere. You leave a pair of sunglasses in my car, them shits are going out the window. You better hope Kato Kalin stumbles across them motherfuckers, because I ain't giving them back to you.
Dude, that is the weirdest thing ever too. Kato Kalin, where he's just like, he's the witness. He was there. He's like, look, man, I'm just renting a place, man. I'm fucking. And then like years later, he was like, oh yeah, OJ did that shit.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like, and by the way, they got this is I gotta respect this. This is why OJ
McDonald's.
They went to get McDonald's together while this bitch's lifeless body was laying there, and OJ was figuring out how to make his getaway. And then he went back to the place, started packing a bag, and had a limo take him to the airport. But before that, him and Kato went and got McDonald's, and I'm like, wow, McDonald's really missed the boat on promoting that one. Like, when you're hungry and you can't wait, you know what I mean? McDonald's, you'd fucking kill for it.
I'm loving it.
Yeah. Everybody, it's OJ Simpson.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
She's dead. But like, seriously though, there has to be some sort of control mechanism in place for the NFL and protecting their product.
Oh, you're going to say for blacks.
Sorry. Well, or just like teams in general. Like, this is definitely on the Rams, and going like, look, push comes to shove, we'll get his old ass out of here.
Well, I had a note for your agenda that I didn't put in there, but this kind of leads in perfectly to this thing you want to talk about. It's not just for guys' wives. It's for women around the NFL in general, because there was another story that came out that Aaron Rodgers is going to get dealt because the team doesn't like him doing Pat McAfee and everything else. And it turns out
exactly, that's the point, is a McAfee thing. And just to clarify, they claimed that the Jets put a stipulation on an ultimatum that you can't do the Pat McAfee show anymore. It's a distraction or whatever. Mm-hmm. I was just clearing that up.
Right, but this was all started by a female reporter who actually who just lied, who's lied about several things.
Yeah. Her name is Diana Rossini, and she should have all credentials and access to the New York Jets revoked. Just make it. Those are the same like Woody Johnson made up stories about things like, and it's it's just so crazy to me that they care about a social media team and putting out, you know, the engagement of your social media stuff instead of just the product of the team. Like, the fans are not going to check out your fucking highlights if, you know, like, that's what you're worried about. Like, the Jets put emphasis on their social media team and all this stuff. Is like, you guys suck.
Yeah.
Like, the stuff will just be on the internet if you're winning. Right?
Right. Yeah.
Everybody else would just talk about it.
Yeah.
Like ESPN, you don't, and it's like something they should learn from the first Trump campaign, where he was like, I don't need to put any money into this. I'm just going to say some wild shit, and then you're going to talk about it for a week. That's how LeVar Ball got all 3 of his sons to the NBA. He just said wild shit, and then they talked about it. He's like, I'll beat Michael Jordan 1-on-1. And they're like, yeah. And then you got Skip Bayless talking about it for a week and a half. And then meanwhile, they're like, hey, but his son's okay. Right? Like, it's like, that's all they have to do is do that. Instead, they got like 4 fucking women and a Jew analytics kid like going, hey, wouldn't this be cool for our social media page? And he'd be like, you're ruining football. Okay. It's not all highlights. It's not all fucking, wow shit. Like, you're making people not watch. You're making just people ingest football in like clips, like it's Instagram. And like, that's why the NBA crumbled.
Yeah. And that's why they're trying to move their white saviors around to get people to start watching games again.
I'm telling you, dog.
Yeah.
Tell you, doggy.
It's
Sam Tripoli conspiracy theory that if white people don't watch the NBA, there is no NBA.
but to wrap up our segment, our little sports segment today that we got back to, and we haven't been talking about sports a lot lately, but we have this episode. To wrap this up, one of the things the NHL got right about this Four Nations thing was that they said, wait a minute, if we were to take a look at the election and understand where the country is right now, where viewership is right now, better than an all-star game would be some sort of nationalist tournament. And it is the most watched all-star anything of the 4 major sports or 5 major sports in forever.
Yeah, and even Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak, he even said maybe we should do something like them and have Americans versus the world for the NBA All-Star.
Oh thing. Be awesome.
That's what made PK Subban go off and be like, I don't care who you play, it's the culture, right?
Yeah.
If you don't care about sport, you got a guy making 30, 40, 50, even $60 million a year, and he's not playing all the games, right? It's like that doesn't happen in hockey.
Yeah,
right? It's a cultural difference.
You have to
be ready to fight. Even if a guy who's not a fighter, if somebody drops the gloves on you and it's that you can not drop the gloves and he gets a roughing penalty.
Especially
that doesn't happen.
Especially if you wear a letter. Like I remember it was one of the early games of the season. Somebody took a run at Matvei Michkov for the Flyers, and the other guy on the ice was Sean Couturier. Sean Couturier is not a fighter, but he's like, you don't fucking run at my guy.
Yeah,
you don't run at my guy, and now I have to kill you. And so he went over and he tried to fight a guy, and he didn't get his ass kicked, but he didn't win.
Yeah,
but he did.
Being ready to fight is like it's a requirement.
Yes,
and you have to be like they're going to try you on there, and it's sort of a thing. If you watch any modern football game, you can watch the Super Bowl, you can watch a regular season game. What is everybody crying for? All the time. Tom Brady complains about it. Everybody's going, that should be a foul. Hey, ref, where's the call? Like, a no call is better, right?
Yeah.
Like when they don't call shit, that's better. I don't care if it was a holding that they missed. It's a no call, right? I don't care that was a pass interference that they missed. It's a no call. Anytime the referee interrupts the game to slow it down, and it's like telling the teacher, hey, teacher, no fair. Look what he's doing. It's like, so what? Go whoop their ass.
Right.
Like, and the fan watching it from that perspective, I can't understand.
Yeah.
And that's like the feminization of the leagues, so to speak, is like.
And it happens in every sport except for hockey.
Yeah. Because there's like an actual repercussions for doing that shit.
Well,
right?
there can be. Yeah. And I got to be honest, if I'm a general manager in the NHL and I'm looking at I'm looking at what America did to Canada in that first game, I just go like, this is how I want to build my roster. And you look at the team, look at the teams in the Final Four every year for the NHL. Dallas, big and mean and physical. Florida, big and mean and physical. Vegas, big, mean and physical. Edmonton making it into the Stanley Cup last year and going 7 games
was an anomaly.
as a mostly skilled, fast team with not a lot of
they
time.
lost.
And they got, not only did they lose, but they got beat up the whole series physically. Yeah. They got grinded on and fucking worn on. And you know, that stuff takes a toll. Like, I don't know that a Connor McDavid is skilled enough to get back there because of the mental toll of making it 7 games with a team like Florida, and then they just beat you up anyway. You know what I mean? And so it is really just it's tough. But if I and this is why you look at what Briere and some of these guys are doing, like Tortorella and Briere and the Flyers are doing with their roster. They move out Morgan Frost, they move out Joel Farabee, and people go, what are they doing? They brought back some smaller, skilled guys, but they're trying to get speed down the middle. And then what you're going to see is they're going to want size on the outside. They want size on the wings. Mm-hmm. And I could see it, and I love, too, people go, what the fuck would Philadelphia trade to get Brady Tkachuk? And I go, hold on a second. Are you stupid? You guys have tons of centers and no wings. You don't think Ottawa would take all 3 of the Flyers' first-round picks this coming draft and Owen Tippett and Cam York and not trade Brady Tkachuk? You're
either
out
way,
of
either way, they're trading. It's just like the Sabres. They're trading a bunch of people for that. But like the fact remains that at the end of both, and it can't be a better situation for both all-star breaks to be within the same weekend, and same week, where you go, hey NBA, watch how it's done the rest of the week.
Yeah, and hockey hasn't won that battle, that ratings battle, even as abysmal as the NBA has been for the last couple of years, for decades. Hockey hasn't won that contest in years.
And it goes back to like the tide is shifting, dude. The same way that people are searching out authenticity in comedy, or not, like Marvel movies are taking a shit because people are like, all right, this is more of the same like retread slop, same storylines stuff. They really like, in entertainment, authenticity is paramount right now. And
well, there was another thing too, to go back to that, about like not just nationalism, authenticity, American values. Do you remember a few years ago in the All-Star game, the players almost had like this gentleman's agreement of like, hey, what if we just bring all our kids onto the ice and let them skate around against each other in this All-Star game with our jerseys on, and let them compete against each other and bump into each other and everything? It was the most fucking heartfelt, adorable shit you've ever seen in sports. And it's like, there are 2 things that are fucking phenomenal about the NHL. The nationalist aspect of it, because there are so many players from so many prideful, tough countries. The other thing is family. Like, look at the way they rallied around Johnny Gaudreau's family leading up to this thing. And then the stuff they do, bringing their kids. And even like you and I.
The NBA can't do that. Like 9 baby mamas fighting for who fucking gets to put their kid on the court. And they're all fighting for the same basketball and shit. And they all get aggressive. And then it looks like a Spirit fucking Airlines flight out of Atlanta. They're all fighting in the stands. They're like, this was a bad idea. We should have.
Yeah. How about we bring Maury Povich out to center court and we settle some disputes here real quick?
It's when you're like, family values is a big difference in the leagues. So you go, yeah, I know. With the players too.
Yeah.
It's not just the viewership that people are, it's within the actual players too.
Yeah. And it would be, you're so right about that.
How are there so many 7-footers all around the country with no father? And you're like, the NBA is in town.
It's so funny that you say that too, because it would be that. It would be like, and by the way, NBA guys, girlfriends and baby mamas and wives, they're the worst human beings on earth. Like if you said to me, Josh, you could Noah's Ark,
bunch of sack chases,
sink a cruise ship of one specific group of people, you got to pick them. I wouldn't pick them.
Basketball wives and girlfriends.
Basketball wives and girlfriends, wags. I would be like, take every bitch ever married or fucked a basketball player and had his baby, put him on a cruise ship and fire a fucking nuke at it.
Those are the sinkable. I mean, there's a couple of big heifers that'll be like the unsinkable Molly Brown and that shit. I ain't going down with the ship.
Y'all ain't get me, motherfucker.
And she's floating on 2 doors.
I knew this boat wasn't shit.
What else we got on that agenda there?
We have some political stuff lined up here that we were going to get into.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I read this thing that said there's been 396,000 deportations so far. And I was like, that's it?
It's a great start. Great start, guys. When do we really get into it? When do we switch it into gear?
When the fuck? I was promised mass deportations.
Yeah, I want 396,000 gone from our street.
A week.
I want 396,000 gone out of my neighborhood.
They got like Mexicans on bullhorns, like going, telling them in Spanish, like, don't answer the door. They got to do this. And you'd be like, listen, you should go to fucking prison for aiding and abetting illegal immigrants.
Yeah.
There's a sign.
It should be like what the Redcoats did to Mel Gibson's family at the beginning of The Patriot.
Well, it's just like there was a sign. Yeah, the Quartering Act.
yeah, where they were just like, if you're quartering, rebels, we will kill your whole family and burn your farm to the ground.
He's like, well, we're a neutral. We've taken soldiers of both armies. It's like, nah, I don't agree. It's like,
Cornwallis.
But these, like, I seen a sign in downtown LA that even had that up. That was like, oh, these crazy Republicans are coming for you, and then it said like, and the Democrats have done nothing, and NGOs are just here like telling you things but not helping, and you're just like, yeah, dude, because nobody wants to go to fucking jail to help illegal immigrants stay here in a country. Like they go, they're just here for a better life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, why is that? Because they ran their fucking country to the ground. It's like they have nothing to be proud of, so they just came here for the things. No thanks. And they'll be like, yeah, but what if we had to kick children out of theirs and take them from schools and all that? I was like, I'm sorry.
That ain't no problem. That ain't no problem.
That ain't no problem. I'm sorry. Aren't you the people who complain that teachers have it hard because class sizes are too big?
Yeah. We fixed it.
Imagine being a teacher in like LA Unified School District or San Diego, right? And then you just come into class and there's no class. Like there's no kids. You're a union teacher. You're getting paid. You're gonna get paid. Like, yeah. I wouldn't even tell the principal. I would just
go, wow, I don't even have to speak any Spanish today. This is fantastic.
Dude, they don't even notice. Like, I was downtown. I go, hey, man, they kind of cleaned up some trash over here and stuff. I was like, somebody's hiding.
That's good. That's good.
Because, they don't care about littering and shit like that. There's just like any...
Yeah. Well, I haven't seen it really kick in when it comes to like traffic or anything like that yet. But I did tell you when I was like driving people before the holidays, and after the election, I saw what I felt like were a lot of self-deportations, where it was a lot of people being like, I just leave.
Yeah, but all these fucking dude, they had a protest in New York where they were like, we're not leaving, fuck ICE. And dude, NYPD just started arresting people. And they were just like, hey, we got another one. And then ICE would come and they were transferring them. But the problem with Tom Homan, is that his name?
The other thing we got to talk about this too is like, hey LA, or hey Tom Homan, I need you to get rid of all these Alhambra Chinese. Like my hinge is like Panda Express, Panda Express, Panda Express, Panda Express.
Oh, you got to make that white / Caucasian.
Well, you have to pay to use that filter, and I just don't. Yeah, you do.
Ethnicity? No, you don't.
Yeah, I think you do, and political thing. You got to use that. But it's like Panda, 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 KFC, Panda, 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 and I'm just like, Jesus Christ, I'm not even hungry. I'm not even hungry anymore after seeing these two menus.
I don't pay for any apps, and that is definitely a feature
that is a free feature. Is the whites only?
You just pick ethnicity, and then you go, oh, it's white Caucasian. There's a check mark, and then hit apply.
Oh yeah, maybe it's political. Maybe it's political that it doesn't let you select unless you pay. I have to look at it again, but.
I even think that
and you have no hope on some of these other apps like Coffee Meets Bagel. That thing is all just you recommend bagel?
I thought that was a Jew site.
You would think so.
I thought it's for Jews to meet black guys.
I'm on there trying to find the fucking
Coffee and Bagel. They don't even go together.
They do not go together. I agree. I like a nice orange juice with a bagel with a schmear, or a
orange juice,
or a gallon-sized diet cranberry juice with my bagel and schmear.
You gotta have the regular cranberry juice because whatever they're putting in there is not good. Whatever makes it diet is chemicals.
Stop.
I mean, regular sugar would be good for you instead of diet stuff.
No, it's not.
Your body can process sugar. It can't.
My body can process whatever. Okay, I'm processing. If you don't,
it's definitely buffering.
If you,
it's been stuck processing for a while.
All I got to tell you is my toilet's full. So
okay. Well, flush it. How about that?
My cup runneth over.
You saving it?
No, I'm not saving it. I do like to leave one in the tank when people
in the tank.
Yeah, no. I mean in the bowl. I like to leave one in there when somebody other than you is coming over.
Shit, fucking upper deckers in your own house, dude, is fucking insane.
Well, knowing how my last relationship ended, it's a tactic I should have employed more often for sure. Every
time I flush, it's just more shit.
Yeah, like I don't know what you did.
What did you do?
Yeah, maybe that smells your pussy. Ever thought of that?
Well, that guy, what's his name? Tom Homan?
Yeah, the upper decker. It's a chapter in my upcoming book, How to Keep Her from Fucking Black Guys When You're Out of Town. Step 1, upper deck your own toilet so she thinks they're making her pussy stink.
That's just an image and smell. I was not.
Yeah, but
I have a great imagination, so that is just.
It wouldn't work. Just what is that smell? I don't know. Have you been putting it anywhere that you're not supposed to be putting it?
Yeah, that's some stinky. The guy's name. What's his name? Tom Homan or whatever. Wait, he walked back all his shit. They were like, "What happens if all these families will be separated?" He was like, "Well, we can stop that from happening. They get deported together." And everybody's like, "Whoa, what a gangster!" Yeah. And now,
concentration camps.
300,000 in a month. I need 3 million in 3 months to make it look like we're doing something, because the reporting about the actual number in this country is so underreported because they don't want you to know that there's 40 to 50
million illegals in this country.
Yeah, they don't want you to know that. They just like, oh, it's 10 million. And then the other thing that happened too is like the liberals especially keep going, yeah, and we're strawberries in California. Who's gonna pick those? And you'd be like,
robots.
Yeah, robots. That's why ingenuity and innovation got rid of slavery.
Right.
It's just like when the cotton gin that was invented by a guy from Connecticut, Eli Whitney, who went to Yale and and moved to South Carolina. He's just like, you got all these fucking blacks doing the farm work. What are you doing? He's just like, you guys can make something and just not. And they're like, oh, this is way more efficient. Right?
One of my favorite early comedy. You just brought this memory out. One of my favorite early comedy memories was I was on the road with my buddy Kevin Kraft, who's like a 6'4" black comedian, and we were doing a show in Iowa. And it was the kind of show where the owner of the bar had like this beautiful big home on a farm and was like, listen, y'all can just come stay in the guest farmhouse. And when I say guest farmhouse, it was like a 5-bedroom home with an Olympic-sized indoor swimming pool.
Oh, that's fire.
On his farm. And we're sitting out there. Kevin and I are sitting out there sipping fucking sweet tea that his wife made us and shit, just looking at the sunset before we go do this show. And he looks over and goes, Josh Denny. And he always calls me, to this day, he calls me my first full name. Josh Denny, what that thing over there do? And he was pointing at a combine. And I go, oh, they use that to cut all this corn down. And he was like, God, I go, yeah, you just drive it through. First of all, I was like, you never seen Son-in-Law? Yeah. And then I was like, they use it to cut the corn down. It's literally like a giant lawnmower for corn, but it doesn't destroy it. And he goes, what the fuck did they do before that? And I said, you mean, what did you do before that?
Yeah, exactly.
You were the combine dog.
And that's the other thing. They were, and it's so harsh to be like, we deserve reparations. And like, first of all, you weren't a slave. The state didn't have slaves. Nobody owned slaves. Going back to all these years, like, who's gonna make it? And you go, if you say something like, honestly, you were just farm equipment. It like trivializes the entire slave trade. And you're like,
Yeah.
they did all that for farm equipment. I go, yeah, I guess. Because they were like, we built America. I'm like, wait a minute. How all the roads to get to the plantations and all that, you built them along the way? What are you guys, Sonic the Hedgehog or something like? Fucking...
Well, there was a clip from whatever the podcast this week or last week or whatever that they posted that was like a girl, some liberal chick on there just didn't understand how slavery happened. He goes, and it was like the guy from, I don't know if you know him, the Australian guy from Rattlesnake TV, who I really enjoy.
No,
a lot of times he'll show clips from different conservatives debating each other on podcasts or whatever, or somebody taking somebody down in a political discussion, and he sort of always sort of recaps from the conservative point of debates. He did this one, or he was on there with this girl, and he's like, hold on, do you think that that the slave trade was whites just throwing nets over blacks in Australia? And she's like, yeah, they just went over there and took them. And he goes, no, honey, they sold their own people.
Yeah. And I actually saw a post today from a chick.
It triggered a thought in my head where I go, I wonder if it was a tough sell, because knowing what we know now, it would be an impossible sell. But I wonder if it was a tough sell back then, where this white slave buyer Jew is sitting there going like, can they be taught? No.
Well, no, it's even worse than that. It's even worse than that. They sold them, right? Africans kidnapped them, stole them from their tribes, sold them for hundreds of years. And every time they're like, I'm telling you, it's like when you go and buy weed from a guy, like before there was weed stores and stuff, you would have to buy whatever the guy has, and he'd be like, I'm telling you, dude, this shit is fire. This is the best. And then you get it, you smoke it, and be like, hey, man, that shit you sold me last time was some shit, man. Oh, this shit is way better this time. I'm telling you, man, you won't be disappointed. And they just kept getting it. Like, they would get disappointed. That's why they had to have auctions. They would get disappointed when they got here. And they'd be like, him? You're like, all right, starting to bid at, we're going to go half a cent. We got one at a half a cent. We got one at 1 cent. We got 2 cents. Do I hear 3 cents? And he was like, what does that guy start at? Oh, he's $5. That's a $5 guy right there.
Yeah, that's LeBron. Costs a little bit more than
that's Kevin Garnett right there. Like, yeah. Some big Shaq motherfucker. It's like, oh, well, yeah, exactly. But when
listen. Oh, Orenthal, you want to buy Orenthal? Nigga, that's $10 right there.
That's there $10. That's a whole year's pay.
$10 right there.
I seen a post from a black chick.
Wasn't that literally a scene from Django when he's like, Christoph Waltz is like, forget about $100, nigga. I want $1,000. And he was like,
I don't think that's in the movie.
It's in the movie. It's in the movie. And he's like,
I don't think that's in the movie.
And it is. And he's just like, he said, you had my interest, sir, but now you have my attention. That's literally that scene where he's just like, I'll pay you. What about
how about $1,000?
Yeah, how about he was like $1,000 nickel, and he was like, well, you had my interest, sir, but now you have my attention.
so my curiosity.
Yeah, you had my curiosity, but now you have my attention.
I seen a post from this black chick the other day who literally said this. At first, I was like, here we go. She's like, regarding reparations. She's like, Africans stole you, right? If you sold your dog to somebody, right? Yep. You would know exactly where. Hold on, listen. If you sold your dog to somebody, you would know exactly where it is, right? You wouldn't go and look for it and ask for it back and things like that, right? So it's the same thing. It's just like she says, Africans kidnapped you, sold them, and knew exactly where they were. It's not like they sent a canoe looking for y'all. So you want reparations? Take it up with the people who sold them. And
yeah, that's a good point.
So they're getting mad at resellers.
Yeah.
They're getting mad at fucking sneakerheads and eBay, right? Like I didn't make the slave; they're just here. Right? Yeah. It's like, what am I going to do with all these slaves? The guy dropped them off on my doorstep because he couldn't pay his fucking bill. Now I got 6 slaves. I don't want them. Guess I'm going to have to take them down to the fucking auction and sell them.
Right.
You know, like when somebody gives you a chore to do, an extra task, you have to return the gift.
I don't like it. Yeah.
You got to return the gift, and you're like, all right, I guess that's basically what it was. People would have slaves and trade them and stuff. That's why it was a slave trade. And you would go, all right, you got a gift receipt for that? Or I have to go to the fucking auction now and get rid of these. What am I going to do with 5 slaves? I don't even have enough land. And they're going to fuck my daughter.
Yeah, I wonder if it was like Facebook Marketplace where it's like, listen, I don't want you to shoot me and take my slaves, so we got to meet somewhere public. How about the Whole Foods over there on the corner of
that's the blackface marketplace
here in Washington? Right? Yeah,
that's exactly how they did it too.
Yeah,
it was just like, all right, it was in the middle of the street and like in the town square. Like, here we go. It was like, anybody else you got him? And that's how the term swap meet came about.
Yeah.
It was actually originally spelled MEAT. We were just swapping meat.
Oh, this has been fun. Should we get out of here? It's Friday night. Oh, you had one other thing you wanted to talk about?
Well, I think that, it was just like political parties being done. I think MAGA lives and ends and dies with Trump.
I think so too.
I think there is no like heir heir apparent. And I think what I really think is going to happen is we're going to have the end of the 2-party system.
Yeah.
And there will be like a bunch of other parties.
There'll be probably 3 or 4 parties in the primary next cycle.
So here at the Big Uglies, I thought it'd be, maybe worth seeing if we had any ideas for some new political parties.
Well, in all seriousness, the one party that already exists is probably the Groyper Fuentes party, and that will be like a reformation party. That party, people like it or not, that will start to become a bigger political movement in the United States, which is a hyper nationalist white Christian.
Not all white. It's just anti-Jew.
No. It's pretty much all white. But yeah, it'll be a pro-white
led by a Mexican. So
yeah, well, half Mexican, but yes, same concept. But yeah, so that will happen, and then you're probably going to get some sort of like dick shaving, crazy trans fucking liberal thing counterpoint on the other side.
Well, I said, so I decided
some of these fringes, but there's probably some fringes that people don't think of right away.
Well, like the former Whig party back in the day, the powder, they wore the wigs and the powdered wigs. It would probably be the fags would fall into that and just like dress like Hamilton all the time. So I figure we call them the figs.
Yeah, where are the powdered wig gays?
Those were the wigs. That's the Whig party. So
they all laugh like Nathan Lane dressed up in drag in the birdcage. Just,
or when the horn honks and he screams.
Yeah, exactly. So that's good. I like that, the wig party, but with fags. The fig party. Yeah, the figs.
Then there's obviously the white party. You kind of mentioned it. With but I feel like it's no Mexicans. It's
okay.
You're gonna see some real white nationalism happen. Yeah, you want to talk about the fringe? That's a fringe.
I was explaining this. Like, actually, I think it works with Fuentes being Mexican for the same reason it worked with Hitler not being Aryan, because it sort of strengthens his argument. So Hitler could go, listen, I didn't say I was a supreme race, right? I said these guys were. Okay, like, look, it's not even me. It's not even me.
I mean, it's like I mean, this is about idealism, okay, not reality, okay.
Yes.
It's
If
what we want to strive to. Do you think I'm happy about being this half breed?
If I was trying to just elevate the status of myself, I would say that the brown hair, brown eyes, Anglo-Saxon, that we are the supreme race. But I didn't say this. I said the aliens.
He did have blue eyes, though, didn't he?
I don't know. I didn't look into them ever. I never was like, this guy's a piece of fuck. Let me dial in on these eyes.
Piece of fuck.
You never heard that?
There was German chicks, though, the same way that like you like 45-year-old fat blonde chicks who are like, I love Trump. He can grab me by the pussy any day.
Yeah, there were Hitler groupies like that too.
Dude, they were probably some Helgas that were like fucking I und love the Führer. The Führer can give me Aryan babies or say long.
And Hitler, would you like me to suck you? That's just him at a McDonald's, at a Schwitzdonald's, you know.
At Wiener Schnitzel, he used to go like this. Ugh, no.
Honey, listen, young lady, I appreciate the offer, but I have been sucked for 12 hours.
That's how he came up with this. He was just like, ugh, forget it.
I can't get my dick sucked anymore.
Please. So he would just wave and he'd be like, ugh.
And
then you see a fine bitch and he'd be like, hey, bitch.
Over there. If you head over there, there's more Germans to
suck.
That
way, and then come back around and please, and then it's the retreat.
Tomorrow morning, I'll put you front of the line pass. You can come back and suck.
There's also going to be the Blackety Black Party.
Oh, yeah. No, most disorganized.
Counter. It's going to be the counter to that. It's going to be headed by Jasmine Crockett.
We used to have that party back in the Bill the Butcher days. It was called the Know Nothing Party. But go on.
No, it was the I'm black, y'all. I'm black, y'all. I'm blackity then black, y'all. That's gonna be their theme song. They're gonna everything they're gonna argue about is gonna be like, but where's the black people? Oh, so you saying black this? And there will be some political violence in that regard, probably.
On that note, there was
the End Party is actually a better name.
The End Party? Yeah, the End Party. I was watching Love is Blind. You know, the new season of that just came out. And
you faggot.
There's a girl. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. The shoe fits in this case. I accept it. But there was a girl and there was like a super woke Minnesota chick. And she's like, well, you know, I've gotten really involved in the Black Lives Matter and all that. And, you know, I don't think I could be with somebody who's not into it. So how do you feel about that? And the guy just goes, yeah, I don't think about it at all. I don't get involved in any of that. I don't care. And she's just like, what? How do you not care? And then, of course, he did. This is why I hate men. Like, I blame how bad women are on men, is because she goes, I don't know if I could be with somebody, you know, that's not as passionate about the Black Lives Matter and the George Floyd as I am. So he comes in the next day and he goes, yeah, whatever you say, honey, it's fine. So we'll do whatever you want to do. I'd like to get my dick sucked, please.
That's crazy. You know that Jack Reacher show with that guy with the big swole dude?
Alan Richardson, yeah, who played Thad Hamilton in Blue Mountain State.
Dude, I didn't know that he was like a woke dude like that.
I didn't think so either, but yeah,
he's from Tampa or some shit.
Yeah, you know, it's really, there are so many people out there that are like still in Trump derangement syndrome land that is so disappointing. Where you're just like, dude, I don't know what to do with you. You know, I have friends that are in that boat and they're posting like, if Trump wasn't a dictator, would he be doing this? And I'm just like, ugh, you're like a fucking chick who just found her first astrological map and you're annoying everybody. Like, just because you know how to read don't mean that you know shit about shit. You know,
and same thing like with the Elon and Doge and stuff. I
sounded like a defensive guy who can't read. Just because you know how to read don't mean shit about shit.
Well, like all the Doge stuff when they're like trying to uncover the fraud and then they're complaining about it.
I know. This is government tyranny at its finest.
I said, listen, I don't care. And they're like, here, get your boy Elon. I was like, I don't like Elon Musk. But that's who he hired for the job. I was like, if he hired Mark Wahlberg to do it, and Mark Wahlberg was like, hey, there's fucking $130 billion over here. Like, yo, Mark Wahlberg's doing some good things over there. Like, right? Like,
exactly.
I'm not getting mad at the person uncovering the fraud. You're getting mad that fraud is being uncovered and I'm the fascist, I'm the authoritarian,
Right.
you're retarded.
It's insane.
You're retarded.
It's absolutely insane.
So that's where we can leave off. You're retarded.
Yeah. Well, the boys are over on their channel right now. Head over to the big time of the biggest problem in the universe with our buddies Dick and Vito.
If you're live, if you're watching this a week later, it's not going to matter.
Then you could still go over after this and just pull it up on their YouTube channel. Also, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, but thank you guys for tuning in. Go to patreon.com/the big uglies podcast. Subscribe to us, support the show over there. Jesus, we got Cunt Cam going right now. I don't know what's happening there.
That's the $5 support.
Yep, give us the $5, $8 if you want to hate. And then the other thing, head over to biguglyshop.com, get some merch over there. We have some funny shirts. I'm going to work on some more merch this week, I think, and get that up to date. And then, of course, head over to my website. You can go to joshdennycomedy.com and find links to live tour dates, and the America Strikes Back tour will begin in April. We have 2 dates announced so far with tickets on sale shortly, Los Angeles and South Florida. There will be more cities and more shows added as we come along. I think you and I are going to do something in Central Florida after the South Florida show, and then maybe in Northern Florida as well. So I think we might roll up the coast and do something like Daytona Beach, and then maybe Jacksonville, something like that. So yeah, come see us on the road this summer. It's going to be a great time. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week.